Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the First Lady of Virginia, Suzanne Youngkin, and the 74th Governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin.
We can sit down now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brandon Rogers. I'm the Associate Executive Director here at Western Tidewater Community Services Board, and I'd like to welcome you here to our agency. It's an honor to host all of you, our friends from the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, members of our General Assembly, Secretary Littell, and of course, Governor Youngkin and First Lady Youngkin. We are privileged to see the signing of 10 new pieces of legislation today that will support the 6 pillars of the Right Help, Right Now initiative that ensures every Virginian has access to the behavioral health care he or she deserves in the time of a crisis. While we're only one of 40 community services boards that comprise our public behavioral health system and Public Behavioral Health and Developmental Services System safety net across the Commonwealth, we pride ourselves in being one of the most innovative and resourceful around. We're always willing to pilot and grow programming that ensures citizens have access to cutting-edge programming like community-based teams specializing in traumatic brain injury or those that specialize in geropsychiatric services. The nearly 800 employees that deliver care here at Western Tidewater work tirelessly to ensure that we live up to the expectations in our tagline, Forward Together. In fact, we recently tried to capture the core values of the truly inspiring individuals that I'm privileged to call my coworkers by launching a program based on Forward as an acronym, ensuring that each of our employees demonstrates values such as foresight, outreach, resourcefulness, well-being, accountability, results-driven, and determination truly ensures that we can meet the needs of our communities today, tomorrow, and for years to come. The growth of our community-based crisis services at Western Tidewater CSB, which has been supported by investment of millions of dollars in state and federal funds, are a testament to the impact of the governor's initiatives that the governor's initiatives are already having. Over the last 3 years, we have successfully established a regional crisis hub for all of southeastern Virginia. For those of you that aren't familiar with a crisis hub, we are responsible for coordinating services through a 24/7 call center that is connected to the National 988, our local public safety answering points, and existing crisis lines. These centers manage the dispatch of mobile crisis teams comprised of behavioral health professionals and/or behavioral health professionals with first responders, such as paramedics or law enforcement officers. In Region 5, we've built a crisis response network that includes over 100 private behavioral health partner agencies, in addition to our publicly funded regional and local crisis teams. This network manages well over 3,000 calls per month and 400 face-to-face mobile responses per month. We are especially proud to note that the average response time across our entire region, that includes Southampton County to Virginia Beach, from the eastern shore to the Middle Peninsula, and everything in between, is under 45 minutes. A system that didn't exist 3 years ago now responds within 45 minutes across that catchment area. Most of us will take longer to get across the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel when we leave here. Moreover, we have developed the region's first 24/7 crisis receiving center. The facility is located about 20 minutes from our current site and provides around-the-clock access to behavioral health clinicians, psychiatric providers, and peer support services. You can think of it as a behavioral health equivalent to an urgent care center with longer hours. Individuals in need of care can walk in or be picked up by one of our staff and spend up to 23 hours receiving care to address their crisis, participate in a sobering period, or be directly linked to services through our on-site same-day access clinician. They can directly onboard into ongoing services like counseling within 10 days, thanks to STEP Virginia, another one of our transformational initiatives in the Commonwealth. We also look forward to launching our Marcus Alert Community Paramedicine Co-Response Team in July in partnership with Suffolk Fire and Rescue. Just noting a few of these accomplishments reminds me that we are part of a once-in-a-career opportunity to see significant change in the way we care for individuals in need. I would be remiss not to recognize our Executive Director, Demetrius Paratsakis. I know he's hiding in here somewhere. Right there he is. He has been here for the last 24 years, and he is our longest tenured Executive Director in the CSB system and has been my mentor for more than the past decade. I'd also like to recognize our board chair, Cindy Edwards, our vice chair, Lula Holland, and several members that are here with us today, Dr. Alacia Pack, Vicki Wiggins-Pittman, Margaret Ann Smith, and Randy Keaton. Thank you all so much for your support as board members. And while I could continue to talk to all of you about the great work that we do here, probably for a couple of hours, I think it's probably best that I allow some of our guests here an opportunity to speak. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you our Health and Human Resources Secretary, John Littell. As you probably already know, Secretary Littell has brought more than 30 years of public policy experience to the governor's administration, including the development of private sector solutions for Medicaid, advocating for independent living for seniors and people with disabilities, and leading mental health and substance use disorder programs. Please join me in welcoming Secretary John Littell.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Brandon, and thank you, Demetrius, and the staff and leadership of Western Tidewater CSB. It's great to be here today. I want to just quickly talk about, in my role as a Secretary of Health and Human Resources, every day I receive a lot of data and I hear stories of what's happening in the Commonwealth, particularly in behavioral health. And a lot of what we hear is really troubling, and it's part of the reason that we're here today. But today I want to specifically talk about gratitude. As was noted, I've been in this business in mental health and Medicaid for about the past 25 years. And I have never met, and I've been doing that nationally, I've never met a candidate who actually made mental health transformation part of his or her campaign. And so I was really interested in meeting Glenn Youngkin after he got elected and understanding what he meant about that. And I have to say, he has been incredibly involved in this. This is not a program that we developed and he did. He has been engaged in every part of the process. I have joked with him that he could lead a 3-hour conversation with governors with all that he's learned in this process. And it's been really incredible to have someone who has supported us, who's stepped up and put money, put resources behind this, has talked about, has visited people, and really understands what we're doing. And we are really grateful for that, and I am particularly grateful for that as your staff person working on it. But we also got a bonus prize in the First Lady, and it has really been, again, most First Ladies do not look at things like fentanyl deaths and well-being as something to work on. And Suzanne Youngkin has been there in the trenches, visiting people out in the field, leading initiatives on this. And it's been, to take on the lethal effects of fentanyl and to work with people who are trying to combat that is really exceptional. And she has been a great leader, so I'm incredibly grateful for that. We also are incredibly blessed that we have great leadership in the General Assembly, and it has been incredibly good to work with, very bipartisan. In fact, we went through this whole process with the budget, and the governor would tell us in the cabinet where things were going, or the wrangling that was going on. At one point, he just looked at me and said, "You don't have anything to worry about." So I really appreciate the partnership that we have. It really is bipartisan. We have some of the members here, and now they're our favorite members because they came here. But we have so many, and they have worked really together bipartisan to pass these bills. So I'm just going to tell you who's here today. We have Delegate Mike Cherry. We have Delegate Rodney Willett, who now also chairs the Healthcare Workforce Authority, as well as the Joint Commission on Healthcare. So thank you for that. We have Senator LaSharice Aird. From the Petersburg, we have Delegate Otto Waxman. We have Delegate Nadarius Clark. And we also have from this area, Senator Emily Jordan, also known as Senator Emily Brewer to me, but I did get it right today. Delegate Ann Farrell-Tata, and Delegate Baxter Ennis, someone I've known in multiple roles. So thank you. One of the things that also makes this job great is we have so many committed staff at the state and local level, and my team has just been fantastic. But as Brandon noted, it's really important that you are represented and supported by board members, by your local government. We have so many that have done that. On our team, Nelson Smith, the Commissioner of Behavioral Health, and his team have just been fantastic. Lisa Price-Stevens is here from the Department of Medicaid Assistance Services. Amy Floriano from the Department of Juvenile Justice. All across state government, we have agencies, staff, people who have been working on this for 20, 30 years who are really committed. And those include clinicians, peers, administrators, our first responders. We have many first responders here. We could not do what we do without that. And clearly, they're also supported by hospitals, physicians, and social workers. So we want to say thank you. I mean, all the people in the back room that are standing, you're the ones that are actually doing the work. You didn't get here early enough to get the seats, but thank you very much. And also all the work in the community. We have many faith communities, we have nonprofits, we have other groups and organizations in the community that have just done an amazing work. Lastly, one of the things, and I think the Governor and the First Lady would agree, one of the things that's been really compelling and inspiring has been working with all the families, or many of the families that have lost a loved one to mental health or substance use. And to see them working through their grief to make sure that other families do not have that issue is really inspiring and really pushes us to go further. Today we're joined by Carolyn Oko, who is the mother of Ivo Otieno, who died while in custody. And Ivo should be here today, and he is not. But his mother has become an incredible advocate for him and for others in the system to make sure that their families are engaged with them and that we make sure that the system is as best as it can be. So thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's a great day. I thank God for bringing us this far. We are a far cry from where we were 1 year ago, when my beloved son was brutally murdered while in the midst of a mental crisis. We chose to grieve legislatively and advocated for Ivo's law. This is a milestone. Special thanks to the Virginia legislature for voting in bipartisan and unanimously for Ivo's law. That was encouraging and very much appreciated. Shout out to Senator Bagby and Delegate Willett for carrying Ivo's law, but more importantly, keeping it intact. Thank you. Thank you to our Attorney Crudis and Attorney Crump, Black America's Attorney General. The two of them keep me grounded. Thank you, Governor Youngkin. You fulfilled your promise. You said what happened to Ivo was wrong, and you are going to be in support of doing something about it. I thank you for taking initiative in behavioral health and introducing new ways to allow things to get better for everyone. Thank you. Much appreciation to my family and friends. I believe if I was not impeded and completely denied from seeing my son, he would never have been taken from the hospital, from care that he desperately needed, taken to jail, assaulted, and subjected to police brutality. And in 3 days, my son was murdered. Ivor's law will give you access to be with your loved ones in a mental crisis as they navigate treatment, for support and supportive decision making. Ivor's law will alleviate the trauma that arises with separation. Our families are part of our mental health, and we need them besides us in those tough times. It's an honor to have a law in Ivor's name. My son was about change. This law exemplifies who he was. He cared that people were treated right, with dignity. And that's what I hope for moving forward, that we can begin taking care of each other. Ivor's law will serve and save lives for generations to come. I get to call his name and say Ivor's law. And you too do the same. If you go to the hospital and someone is trying to tell you, oh, he's agitated, oh, you can go back there and see him, please raise your voice and say, Ivor's law gives me access. This is a step in the right direction, but more needs to be done. Incrementally, we can build on it. We will power forward to advocate for safety protections for the mentally ill in hospitals, jail, and mental institutions, from abuse and police brutality. The hospital is not the police's jurisdiction to run roughshod over patients. We will keep working towards putting policies in place that will end the criminalization of our mental health and these senseless killings. Quoting a great civil rights leader of our time, the Reverend Al Sharpton, this must stop with Ivor. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for your advocacy and for your words. Please join me in welcoming Virginia's First Lady, Suzanne Youngkin.
I don't really want to have to speak after Caroline. Thank you, Caroline. And on behalf of everyone in this room, on behalf of all the elected officials who so bravely stepped in to pass a law that will save lives, on behalf of all Virginians and all Americans, we thank you for your bravery, for your forgiveness, and for your heart for God. It's really incredible. and we're sorry. With that, I'm going to start with Psalm 34, 17, 18. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And today we gather to say that we hear all of those who are crushed in spirit. We hear the more than 1 million adults across Virginia who suffer from a mental health condition. And nearly a quarter of those adults have a serious mental health challenge. For our incarcerated, about 36% of Virginia's institutional population has a mental health issue. When they go unnoticed and unaddressed, we see increased rates of recidivism. We see increased rates of abandonment of family and responsibility, and we see persons continuing to suffer. On behalf of our youth and youth across America, we hear you and we see you. 1 in 5 youth today in the United States has a mental health illness, and over 60% of those will never receive treatment. But I am so proud of this elected body and the people that are so diligently leading Virginia in a cause that is so relevant and so important. I feel extremely humbled to be able to advocate for the brokenhearted, and I will continue to do so. And again, to our elected officials, to all of our health officials, to each and every one of you in the room who's not here randomly, you're here for a reason. We say thank you to our 988 operators who are here. You are heroes in your own right. You are doing amazing work, and you are putting people back in the place where they should be, which be at the center of our attention and our care. And I'm so proud of my husband for prioritizing a cause that is not about politics, but about people. And we're here to serve. And with that, I'd like you to welcome my husband, your 74th governor, Glenn Youngkin.
Thank you. I have to go after 2 extraordinarily amazing women. And so I humbly come to the microphone to say thank you as well. Thank you for gathering today in a way that reflects so much more than an invitation to attend. It reflects a passion. It reflects a deep caring. It reflects your heart. And so if nothing else is said today, thank you. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your concerns. But most importantly, thank you for the work that you do, because you truly do save lives. It's that simple. I have had the great privilege to stand in front of groups over the course of the last few years and talk about the overwhelming nature of the crisis that we are facing in our behavioral health culture, and how it overwhelms a system that is supported and staffed by some of the most amazing people I've ever met, and yet a system that was not designed to deal with what we are dealing with. And every time I have that privilege to come to the microphone and we talk about a system, I'm reminded that it is about individuals who each make the system work better or need support from it. It's about individuals who may be calling or crying for help and need that help right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, and certainly not next year. It's a student in a classroom. It's a sailor serving on a ship. It's a neighbor down the street. Any neighbor down any street in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's your brother, your sister. It's your son. It's a grandparent. It's a loved one. Friends, maybe it's even you. When we launched Right Help Right Now December, a year and a half ago, it was the culmination of an extraordinary amount of work by over 1,000 people who came together to design, to identify needed change, to breathe vision into what our behavioral health system must be. Not what it could be, but what it must be. And that, to me, is not a program. It's certainly not a single bill. It's not a single initiative. It reflects a calling for comprehensive transformation. And that is what we're celebrating today. It is also a statement of not what could be in 6 years or 10 years, but it is a demand for urgency that we must deliver right help right now, and not leave it to others. This is the gift that we have been given to do exactly that right now. We know what great will look like. Great is a behavioral health system that involves everyone, not just the state, not just a fabulously run CSB, not just not-for-profits, not just churches and other religious groups, not just families, not just our healthcare system, but everybody. And when we get there, then we can say we are doing what we need to do. All of this must come together. And that is the work of Right Help Right Now. Because that system will be a system that is built on rock, not on sand. And that is a system that will withstand time. Let me tell you something that we know is at the heart of this. It's saving lives. Suzanne and I have many times found ourselves in prayer, and we pray that not a single mother will ever have to do what we've just seen, ever again. Not a single set of parents will grieve over the death of a child to a fentanyl poisoning. Not a single wife will have to grieve over the suicide of her husband who's serving in the military. Not a single incredibly dedicated nurse will come home in tears over a patient that was lost. That is what we're working for. So over the course of the last few months, I watched an amazing set of legislators put down politics. And I continue to be inspired by how much we can get done together when we do not worry about who gets the credit. It is amazing. And Secretary Littell shared the names of those very special legislators who were present. But there are so many others that I feel we must acknowledge because of the work they do. Senator Bagby, who, yes, carried Ivo's bill. Delegate Mark Sickles, Delegate Terry Kilgore, Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy, Senator Cree Deeds. I'm going to say it again, Senator Cree Deeds. Senator Tara Durant, Senator Mamie Locke, the chairs of our finance committees over our entire administration, from Barry Knight to Janet and George to Senator Lucas today. Friends, it's everyone. And I have to say, that is why this is working. Chairman Luke Torian, can't forget him. Friends, this is a team effort, and I want to thank you all. It's happening at the local level as well. I know our mayor from Suffolk, Mark Durham's here. So Mark, thank you for being here. Where are you? Here you are. I just saw you. I'm sorry, Mike. I can't read my own handwriting. We've seen activity across the entire breadth of local and state and federal government. More importantly, from so many non-government entities. We've seen advancements in banning pill presses and criminalizing the use of xylazine. We've signed bills on kinship care, restoring families. We've streamlined the DD waiver backlog list in a way that, in all candor, I'm not sure I possibly imagined that we could accomplish. And thank you all for once again the great efforts here. Law enforcement has worked hard to interdict the drug trade with Operation Free Virginia. We seized 51 pounds of fentanyl in the month of May, enough fentanyl to kill every Virginian over and over again. Today we're taking yet another step. Taking another step with more very important legislation. Now, see, I signed the 10 bills already, I want you to know. That joined another 21 bills during this session, 31 bills to carry on the important activization of a 3-year transformation project, and we're in the second year. The first year was catapulted with 24 bills. And over this effort, $1.4 billion of incremental investment that has been authorized and signed in order to bring resources to bear. This, again, is a team effort. Let me tell you a little bit about some of these bills that we're signing today, because they fit square in to the Right Help Right Now 6 pillars that are advancing this most important effort. Senate Bill 403 is expanding our workforce by establishing behavioral health technicians as professions governed, supervised, and qualified by the Board of Counseling. We need more hands and feet. And this is all about more hands and feet. House Bill 823 and Senate Bill 497 are facilitating the use of alternative transportation. Yes, to relieve law enforcement from TDOs, and yes, to further decriminalize someone's moment where they are having a mental health crisis. We, of course, have signed House Bill 1038 and Senate Bill 568, which strengthen our infrastructure by providing on-site ready access to the pharmaceutical support that oftentimes is hard to get when, in fact, someone is in a behavioral health crisis. House Bill 601 and Senate Bill 543 pick up from last year's efforts to, I was going to say invite, but to ensure that health insurance is covering behavioral and mental health issues. And these two bills further streamline that coverage to make sure that emergency mental health services are covered as well. And then, of course, there's Ivo's bill. And I can't describe it any better. Caroline stands in front of you, and I know that a mother can do anything. My mother still will always be my hero. And the work that I've seen Caroline do in order to advocate, to stand up, to vocalize that most important voice will in fact save lives. The bill that represents Ivo every day will in fact save lives. Loved ones will be in the room. They will have access. They will be able to advocate. They will be able to hug, to whisper those most important words that are the most powerful in the English language, I love you, in the ear of their loved one. And that is the most important medicine on the planet. We have so much more work to do. And I am so confident that we will, in fact, do it. One area that I am concerned that we continue to come up short on is the negative effect of social media in the lives of our youngest Virginians. We know that there is significant damage and challenge that is done here. We must act decisively. And therefore, Mr. Secretary, I'm asking you to, again, lead what you do so well. So today I'm directing Secretary Littell to launch a task force that will study the issue of social media and its impact on our children closely, to assess best practices from other states around the Commonwealth and pilot programs that have been going on, to work with the private sector, to partner with our education teams, to partner with our General Assembly, to engage stakeholders in all aspects of this challenge and formulate a plan that represents a collective move forward. Mr. Secretary, there's no one I trust more. And so thank you. Virginia is home to 8.7 million amazing people. 8.7 million amazing people with dreams and with aspirations, and yes, with battles faced openly, sometimes faced quietly, and all too often beneath the surface. So I want to return to a very consistent message that you have heard today. We must build, brick by brick, layer by layer, with the hearts and the souls of every citizen who lives here. And when someone needs help, I want them to call 988 and find it. When someone needs help, I want them to feel unencumbered in their ability to find someone to speak with. When someone needs help, I want them to know that they can get the right help right now, no matter their age, their background, their race, their gender, their zip code. Nothing should stand in their way. It impacts everyone. We all are answering this call. All of us. And when we ask ourselves this question, why, every single person has a unique moment in your life that provides not only your inspiration and not only that ember that now blazes as a fire of passion and commitment. And it is that why that we want to begin to catalog. In my faith, I believe that everyone, every man, woman, and child is created in the image of an almighty God. And he calls us to love them. And therefore, it is our responsibility to do exactly that. And so when I sign the list as why, it's easy. Each one of you, I ask to do that as well. And so we will do a few things today. We will, yes, stand in front of a stack of bills that unlocks the next step of our behavioral health transformation. But I also ask you to sign our board as to why. And people will be inspired by each of your stories. I ask the Lord's blessing on each and every one of you. Thank you for the work that you do. And what an amazing future we can all see together when we lock arms and go there with purpose and go there in order to make a difference. God bless you all, and thank you. Okay, I'm going to go sign that first. Here we go.